Hey, Annie here. Welcome to Annie Spenwell, Practical Procurement Systems on a Whiteboard. Today we're talking about how companies quietly lose money in normal buying decisions and how to stop it to protect margin. Most companies don't lose money in one dramatic moment. They lose it quietly through normal-looking buying decisions, and it usually happens on a random Tuesday. A renewal goes through that nobody reviewed. Someone buys the same service at a different price because it's urgent. A contract gets signed that no one can enforce. A supplier fails, and suddenly you're paying in delays and internal time. If you manage a budget or you're trying to build some version of procurement, this video is for you. Because I'm going to show you where to start and the 6 mistakes to avoid when you build a procurement/spend management function, so you create profit impact, not paperwork. Video 1 was who I am and what this channel is about. Video 2 was what procurement is. This video is the next step. If you want to build procurement independent of company size, what do you build first, in what phases, and what mistakes will kill value before it starts? And to make it real, I am going to run 3 mini stories in parallel: big, growing, and solo. Same pattern, different scale. Procurement problems don't live in one type of business. They show up everywhere. The point is always the same. Profit isn't only made by selling more. Profit is also protected by buying better. So let's set the scene. It's Tuesday. In a big company, Tuesday looks like this. A department renews something standard. An agency, logistics, IT services, without anyone checking commercial terms. It's only 2% worse pricing or a slightly weaker clause. But at scale, that 2% becomes real money. And with thousands of suppliers and contracts, the issue usually isn't that the contract doesn't exist. It's that nobody can find it, follow it, or manage it commercially. Quick example that happens all the time. External consultants/contractors. One department hires SAP contractors through one agency at one rate. Another department hires similar profiles through a different agency at a higher rate because it's urgent. Nobody owns the overall strategy. So the business accepts permanently higher operating cost. That's not admin, that's margin. In a growing company, Tuesday often looks like a SaaS renewal. A reminder hits someone's inbox. Renewal in 7 days. Nobody wants downtime, so it auto-renews. But the stack has multiplied. Jira, Notion, Miro, Figma, HubSpot add-ons, data tools, AI tools, often overlapping. Each tool is not that expensive until you multiply by headcount and lock in annual commitments. Concrete picture: one team signs Asana, another signs Monday.com. Product has Jira. Collaboration is split between Notion and Confluence. Now you're paying for 4 systems to solve one problem. Quiet drain, locked in. Solo, Tuesday is personal. You're paying for Adobe, Canva Pro, accounting software, CRM, hosting, email marketing, and you hire freelancers when you need them. Editing, design, dev. So Tuesday is, I need this done fast. You hire an editor quickly, but scope is fuzzy. No acceptance criteria, no revision limits, no clear timeline expectations. The work comes back almost right, and you burn nights fixing it. So you pay twice, once in cash and again in time. Across all 3 realities, purchasing decisions are business decisions. If no one owns them, the business pays a leakage tax. Mistake 1: tools before ownership. Don't start with forms or software, start with decision rights. Who can buy what? Who approves what? What procurement owns versus supports? Without that mandate, every process becomes optional and Tuesday keeps repeating. Why even bother with procurement at any size? Because people want the same outcome in all 3 realities: predictable costs, protected margin, lower risk, smoother operations. Profit is basically revenue minus costs minus surprises. Procurement reduces both the costs and the surprises. Now, remember Tuesday. In a big company, the goal isn't compliance as a virtue, it's leverage at scale. Standard terms that protect the company. Negotiation power where it matters. Supplier performance management so failures cost less. And yes, audit readiness, because audits happen. Because the moment a logistics failure hits, that's not procurement admin. Production stalls to deliveries slip to sales fall to profit follows. In a growing company, the objective is controlled growth. Less spot buying under pressure. less leadership time burned on approvals. Simple rules that let teams move fast. Flexibility without locking into expensive long-term commitments. This is exactly where SaaS and cloud can kill margin. You want spend to scale with headcount and usage, not spike because renewals and commitments aren't managed. Solo is not about acting corporate, it's just value for money, clear agreements, fewer subscription leaks, fewer vendor disappointments, clean exit terms. For a solo founder, procurement is basically, I don't want to pay twice, once in money and again in time. Mistake 2, seeing procurement as control. When people hear control, they assume policing. But procurement isn't policing, it's profit protection and risk reduction. Commercial leverage that helps teams move faster, not slower. Here's the tension. You need commercial protection, margin and risk without creating bureaucracy. The challenge isn't having a process, it's making decisions consistent at scale without killing flexibility. And this is where Tuesday escalates from cost leakage to lock-in to real operational damage. Big company. Tuesday, a business unit signs a marketing agency SOW fast because a campaign is urgent. Deliverables are vague. Usage rights are unclear. Termination language is weak. Results disappoint. And now you can't exit cleanly without paying more. Money is spent. Leverage is gone. That's commercial loss. Growing company. Tuesday, you need a SOC2/security consultancy fast to close a customer deal. You sign whoever is available. Scope is unclear, add-ons are expensive, renewal terms are sticky. The customer revenue is great until delivery cost eats the margin. Now procurement isn't about saving money. It's about not selling unprofitable growth. Solo Tuesday, you sign a tool with a cheap intro price under time pressure. Then you discover cancellation windows, upgrade paywalls, surprise fees. You either waste hours switching or you keep paying. And again, you pay twice, cash and time. Now, here are the next 3 mistakes that create the bleed. Mistake 3. No intake/triage procurement has no front door, so it gets pulled in after the decision is basically locked. Result, procurement can't create value. It can only become a delay. Commercially, late entry equals no options, equals no leverage, equals higher cost. Mistake 4. No spend visibility. You can't manage spend, you can't name top suppliers, top categories, renewals, commitments. Result, you don't know where to focus and renewals happen by default. Commercially, blind visibility equals blind negotiation equals missed savings plus missed risk. Mistake 5. Price-only thinking. You optimize for unit price and ignore total commercial cost. Time, failure, rework, downtime, disputes, switching. Result, cheap suppliers turn into expensive outcomes. Commercially, lowest price, not equal to best value. Failure converts price savings into real loss. And that's the pattern behind Tuesday. Here's the turning point. Procurement is a commercial operating system. Clear rules that keep buying aligned with margin and risk. But you build it in phases so teams feel the benefit early and adoption stays high. If I'm building procurement from scratch, I'm not thinking department. I'm thinking, how do I stop dumb losses this month and then make good buying repeatable without slowing everyone down? So what do we do so Tuesday stops being chaos? The 5 things you need first. First approximately 60 days. If you do nothing else in the first approximately 60 days, do these 5. They prevent most of the mess. 1. Decide what procurement actually owns, what decisions live with you, what stays with the business, and where procurement is simply support. 2. Get basic spend visibility. Top suppliers, top categories, a list of contracts, renewal dates, commitments. If you can't name those, you're managing by vibes. 3. Align with the people who buy stuff, not a workshop, just clear working rules. Who comes to you, when, and what you need from them so you can move fast. 4. Have a simple playbook for buying and contracting, a couple of templates, clear thresholds. When do we need competition so every purchase doesn't start from zero? 5. Track a few signals that tell you it's working. Savings, yes, but also cycle time, supplier performance, and whether the business is actually using the path you set up. Mistake 6, believing tools will save you. Tools don't fix unclear ownership, they don't fix late intake, they don't fix blind spend, they don't fix we reinvent contracts every time. They just make the same confusion faster and more expensive. Where the procurement policy actually matters, people think a procurement policy matters because it's a PDF. It doesn't. It matters because it changes what people do on a Tuesday afternoon when something is urgent. A good policy answers a handful of questions. Clearly, who can buy what? Up to what amount? When do we need competition? Who is allowed to sign a contract? What clauses are non-negotiable? How do suppliers get onboarded? How do we avoid conflicts of interest? That's not bureaucracy. That's how you stop repeating the same commercial mistakes. And here's the test. If the policy can't be followed in real life, it won't be followed. So the policy has to match how the business actually operates. Now, let's go back to Tuesday, but this time with procurement built the right way. In a big company, Tuesday stops being silent leakage. You get real leverage. Deals are cleaner. Contracts are enforceable. Suppliers perform because someone is managing them. Audit readiness stops being a fire drill. And the quiet leakage that's been shaving margin every month starts to disappear. In a growing company, Tuesday renewals stop being automatic commitments. Growth gets cheaper and smoother. Less spot buying, fewer surprises, fewer we had to do it fast decisions that lock in costs for a year. Leadership gets time back, and operating cost stops outrunning revenue. Solo Tuesday stops stealing your evenings. Fewer subscription traps, fewer vendor letdowns, less rework, more time on paid work, and less time fixing problems that were avoidable. And the end state isn't more rules. It's less waste, less risk, fewer surprises. That's the commercial value. If you're setting up procurement/spend management and you want a clean starting point, comment big, growing, or solo. And tell me two things. 1. Your biggest spend category, SaaS, marketing, logistics, IT, contractors too. Which phase you're in your procurement maturity journey. I'll keep sharing the process and the templates, and the first off-the-shelf toolkit drops January 31st, 2026, built to be usable from day one. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the drop. You can check the next video out over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.